Welcome back, everybody, to Pooley Mag TV, the raw, unedited, unscripted NUFC fan channel where everyone's got an opinion and nobody's opinion's wrong. So I said I'll be back probably at the end of the week or at the beginning of the next week, but there seems to be some traction being made on Eddie Howe's future. So I thought I'd be remiss if I didn't make a video on this. Now, everybody knows my stance on Eddie Howe, so I'm not going to repeat myself. I obviously will a little bit, but I'm not going to repeat myself loads. It's not going to be a tirade against Eddie. What I want this video to be is an opinion, your opinion. I want some comments on this video. I want people to actually give me their opinion on Eddie Howe's tenure. I'm going to mark it out of 10. I'm going to give you my thoughts, my opinions, not a rant and a rave. I'm not in one. I'm fuming. Don't get me wrong, I'm still not happy about the season, but I'm not going to be kicking off. What I want this video to be is Eddie Howe, are you Eddie Howe in or are you Eddie Howe out? And if you are in, give me some reasons for why, and if you're out, I want some reasons for why too. So please comment. Please get this video going a little bit. Let's have a little bit of a back and forth. I don't just want loads of Eddie Howe people on. You know, I want a little bit of both. So let's get this video going. Let's get a little bit of traction going with this, and let's get why people want him in and why people want him out. Now I've been saying for a long time, I'm Eddie Howe out. He's come back a few times, and he's proved me wrong a little bit. We went on runs. We went on 7-8 match winning streaks. We've done the unthinkable sometimes, but I have always said that will run out at some point. You can't keep going on them runs every season to bail you out of trouble. We did it last season, we did it the season before. The only season we didn't really do it is the season we finished fourth, when we barely got beat that season. We've never been the same team since that season. The season that we got into the Champions League, we had loads of injuries, but why did we have loads of injuries? Because of his failure to rotate the squad. He hammers people into the ground. He doesn't use the youth. He doesn't experiment much. You know, it's just the same all the time. That season, we were playing Dan Burn at left back most of the season. And that was when I started to think, well, what's going on here? And like I said in my previous video, I questioned after we got knocked out of that Champions League by AC Milan. I got told to shut up. I got told I didn't know what I was doing. I don't have a clue what I'm saying. I'm too negative. I'm this and that. But I seen signs then, it was 2.5 years ago, that this manager wasn't good enough. Now, did I fully want him out then? Do you know, I just seen that he wasn't good enough to take us to the next level. Now, I got called reactionary. I got called a whole host of negative names for having that opinion. And then we went on to finish 7th that season. We didn't buy anybody in that summer. And then we had a rubbish start of that season, didn't we? We had a rubbish start of that season. We got beat off Brentford, and then we turned it around. And we won the Carabao Cup. And then we were rubbish after that. There's been signs for a long, long time that Eddie Howe, when he has more than one game a week, struggles. He really does struggle. Now, this is starting to remind me of the season Bournemouth got relegated. Now, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination we're getting relegated, because we're not. We've got better players than what Bournemouth had. But his last summer window at Bournemouth was atrocious. His stubbornness, his failure to rotate, his favourites. Does this ring a bell? Because it's starting to ring a bell to me. He's served a purpose for me. And I just think he's given some great moments, but what else can he do? What else is there left for him to do? He's won the Carabao Cup. He's got us into the Champions League twice. Pardon me. I don't think he can do any more. I really don't. He seems a lovely bloke, but the media seem to think Newcastle can't do any better, and that we should just be happy with our lot because we're a small club in the North East. How dare we hound out the manager? That's won us a trophy. That's how it seems, and that's how some of our fans think and all. Some of our fans have this, well, as long as it's not Mike Ashley, I'm happy mentality. It's better than what it was. Yeah, but it's still shit, isn't it? It's still shit. This season's been shit. I don't care what happened last season. I could go back to, we were great 30 years ago under Kevin Keegan. It doesn't fucking matter, does it? It doesn't matter when you were last great. Are you great at the minute? No, you weren't. So no, we aren't, sorry. So what's the point? We can say, Manchester United were great 20 years, and they're not great at the minute. So it's like living in the past. Now, a lot of our fans accuse Manchester United of living in the past. They accuse Liverpool of living in the past. And now we're doing the same thing. A lot of our fans don't seem to want to criticise Eddie Howe. They don't want to criticise the board. They're just happy to be took on this magical ride. This, it's trust the process. Oh, yes, this is brilliant. Not have any ambition, just be happy with where they are. Having a good season now and then and be happy where they are. Now, I don't have that mentality. I see Newcastle as a big club, and I see us with potential to get into the Champions League most seasons. I see us being able to get a manager, if he had £250 million to spend in the summer, would have had us challenging for the Champions League. I don't buy into the bullshit that Eddie Howe is the only manager out there for Newcastle United. There's plenty of big clubs and smaller clubs who've won trophies and sacked managers 6-7 months later because they aren't performing then. They don't look at that. Carlo Ancelotti won the double with Chelsea and got sacked. Claudio Ranieri won the league with Leicester fucking City and got sacked. Conte won the league with Chelsea, got sacked. You know, it happens. Look at Jose Mourinho for Chelsea twice. Got sacked. Are you telling me Eddie Howe's Jose Mourinho, Ancelotti or Conte, or Ranieri even? No, he hasn't done it. He's won us the Carabao Cup. It's fantastic achievement. But let's get past that, man. Do you know what it reminds me of? I watched the George Best interview years ago when he said, once we won the European Cup in 1968, it was like the players were like, we've done everything now. He was a young lad at the time. He wanted to go on and achieve loads of things. But it seemed like that team there had achieved all they wanted. And that's how it feels for us at the minute. It's like, we've won the trophy, that's all we need. We've done everything that we need to do now. You know, it doesn't seem like there's any ambition from the players and the manager. He's brought Nick Voltemada in, a technical player who's really good. You look at the stats at home, right? There's nine games he started, right, up front, and we've got 20 points, right? So that's not a bad return from 27, is it? We've got 20 points out of 27. Now, I think there's been seven other players have started in front of him in the league at home, and we've got 6 points. That's a 14-point drop-off in nigh on the same amount of games. Come on. Why didn't you adapt to Nick Voltemada? Do you know why? Because he can't. He won't. He's stubborn. He doesn't like them type of players. Now, this squad does not have the energy to run about like headless chickens for 90 minutes, playing 2-3 games a week. It just doesn't. And this is where Eddie Howe gets found out for me. This is why I want him out. Because his style only works when you're not challenging for trophies. It'll only work if he focuses on the league only. Now, if that's what you want every season, that's fantastic. But it's not what I want every season. I want a manager who can come in and he can compete on all fronts. We've spent enough money. Net spend, we've got the third biggest net spend since Eddie Howe come into the job. Now, when people want to talk about, we don't spend it, come on, man. Come on. Let's root through, right? Some of the signings he's made, right? Bruno for 40 million, Tonali for over 50 million, Isaac for over 60 million, Elanga over 50 million, Botman 30 million, Chow 35 million. They're centre-backs, by the way. 30 million for them, Lewis Hall. 35 million for Tino Livramento, 2 full-backs. 55 million for Wissa. 70 million for Voltemada. 40 million for Ramsey. 40 million for Barnes. 45 million for Anthony Gordon. This isn't pennies you've spent. This isn't pennies at all. People want to go on like we aren't competing and we aren't spending this. I've just reeled off a lot of, and there's more there. 12 million for Trippier, 10 million for Ben. You know, people go on like all of our signings cost that much. We've made some big signings, by the way. We've made some big signings. And our summer, it was an absolute catastrophe. Because, not just because of Eddie Howe, but a massive reason is he wants a certain type of play. And that's all he wants. And that certain type of player will only get you so far. It will only get you so far. You look at Manchester City, you look at Arsenal, you look at Liverpool, they've got technical players. Pardon me, they've got technical players. You look at Barcelona, you look at Bayern Munich, look at Inter Milan, look at PSG, look at any top team, look at Porto, look at Lyon, look at teams that are doing well. Any top team in Europe that's doing well as technical players. People want to slate Atletico Madrid, right? They want to go on about Diego Simeone. It's a defensive-minded team, and all they are is ruffians and rough people up. They've got Julian Alvarez. They've got Antoine Griezmann. They've got Simeone's son. And they've got a whole host of others who can keep the ball, run with the ball. The technical players, they're not just athletes, they're not just runners and sprinters. Even Atletico Madrid have quality. They do. Any top team needs technical players. We've got one or two. We've got Bruno. If he's gone, we've got none. Sandro Tonali, when he's on, he's more of a Gattuso than a Pirlo, isn't he? Sandro Tonali. Let's get it right. He's not a. He doesn't have like assists in him all the time, does he? He doesn't break down defences with his passing, which I think he could do. But he doesn't. So, therefore, who's our only other technical player, really? Well, Jacob Ramsey, if he's played right, and Nick Faltamara. The rest, all we seem to do is you want to be iron balls into the box. If Steve Bruce or Steve McLaren or Alan Pardew played the dross that Eddie Howe's played this season, they'd be hounded out. I just don't understand it. Let's stop living off the past. Let's stop living off where we played well in this match, or we did well that season. Let's look at our season on a whole. From start to now, 7 games left. It hasn't been good enough, has it? It hasn't been good enough. Eddie Howe has been tactically inept in a lot of matches, and he's been schooled by managers who've haven't spent a fraction of what he's spent. This is why I don't want to trust him with another summer. Who's he going to get? More like for like. He's going to keep Dan Burn, you know he is. He's going to keep Fabian Schär. He's going to keep Trippier. He's going to keep all these players until they're about 40. This is what he does, because he likes characters and leaders in the dressing room over people who can actually play football. I know you need characters and leaders. I am well aware you do. Because if you don't, you're not going to win anything. But if your characters and leaders are 35, 36, and you'd rather play them over a 24, 25-year-old, you ain't going to win anything anyway. So, I find the right balance. Make Trippier a coach. Offer him a coaching job. You know, there's plenty of options out there. Buy some younger ones who've won things, who can become leaders. I've got nothing against having older heads in your dressing room. You need it to learn off. But when they're starting most games over your talented younger players, there's something wrong. Look at your academy. It's absolutely fucking horrendous. You're going out buying all these young players, and apart from Lewis Maya, I haven't seen any of them. Alex Murphy's played about 3 matches under Eddie Howe. Sean Neve, come on, against Karabag. But where are they at? You look at Manchester City and Rico Lewis, That O'Reilly now, Phil Foden, a couple of 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. There's progression. There's people, you can see the fact that Pep Guardiola has control over these young players and all, the youth teams, the youth setup. Where's ours at? Where's it at? There is none. He's unwilling to play them. He's unwilling to do so because they're not Premier League proven. Well, how the hell are they ever going to get Premier League proven if you don't give them a chance? There's been plenty of matches this season where he's had a chance to start some of them young players. Over Trippier when he was struggling, that Shahar. Sean Neve couldn't have done any worse than a struggling Wissa or a Sule. He couldn't have. Bring him on for half an hour. Give these kids a chance. But he won't. Nobody asks him this though. The media have this protective bubble over Eddie Howe around him. I've never seen nothing like it. I really haven't. You know, he can't do no wrong because it's little old Newcastle and he's won us a trophy, so we should just be happy with our lot. Well, I'm not happy with my lot at the minute. Now, I know there's some people out there who completely and this is what I want, but I'm giving you my reasons for why I want Eddie Howe out. His tactical ineptness, his inflexibility, to change things, his poor in-game management, his like-for-like substitutions, his awful signings in the summer, the fact that he doesn't bring the youth into play, predictability. I could go on and on and on. It's stale, it's poor, it's not good enough. This is why I want him gone. I thank him for everything he's done. If you listen to my videos properly, you'll see that I do still like the guy. I just don't want him as our manager no more. So when you come on here, please watch the full video to get them snippets of information. And don't just say, I hate Eddie Howe. Because I don't hate Eddie Howe. I really don't. I just don't think he's good enough. And I haven't for a long time. I really haven't. I haven't thought he was good enough for a long time. The Carabao Cup papered over a lot of cracks. You look at that season without the Carabao Cup. I know we've scraped fifth, but I don't think we'd have scraped fifth without the Carabao Cup. And I know it's all ifs and buts and we did it. But Alexander Isak papered over a hell of a lot of cracks for Eddie Howe. He really, really, really did. He had a world-class striker on his hands. Without him, he struggles, doesn't he? I don't know anybody would. But that's why you adapt, you overcome, you change your style a little bit. Like I say, Diego Simeone has went from having brutes up front to Griezmann and Alvarez. Because Simeone sees things changing. His core principles stay the same, but he evolves and he adapts. Eddie Howe doesn't. He doesn't. And for all them reasons that I've mentioned a couple of minutes ago, I want him gone. But if you want him in, please let me know why. There's nothing wrong with it. Instead of just saying, oh, look what he's done. He's won. Explain in depth. Give me some reasons why you think Eddie Howe is the man. Not because he won the Carabao Cup. Because that's gone. That's dead and buried. That was a lovely time a year ago. It's over with now. So tell me why you think he's the man to take us forward. And give us some pointers. Because I've named his tactical ineptness, his inability to be flexible, the fact that he doesn't bring the youth through, his predictability, his like-for-like substitutions, his lack of technical plays. He won't adapt. He won't adapt to the players that he brings in. He expects them to change to his way. And it just, the fact that it's become stale and he's been found out and he won't change anything. His post-match press conferences are diabolical. They're the same. He reads off a script. His pre-match press conferences are the same. He reads off a script. He's trying to pull the wool over our eyes. And he's not the manager that people think he is. This is my opinion. But I've given you some actual pointers there. With the fact that we've dropped 22 points this season. The fact that he's still blaming PSR and losing Alexander Isak as a factor in why we got beat off Sunderland. Yet we spent the same amount of money on 2 players as they've spent on their old squad. So these are some of the reasons why I want him gone, because I can just see this progressing and progressing, and it's becoming more and more of the same. And I think a lot of the fans who want Eddie in don't really want him in. They just want to save face. They can't admit they were wrong, because a lot of people can't never admit they were wrong. So they continue to bang the drum of why Eddie's in. Well, he won us the cup. He got his Champions League twice. Brilliant. And I thank them for that. But why do you want him in now? What's he done this season that makes you think that he can progress us next season? What makes you think he will get us top transfers in the summer? What makes you think he will get us Europe this season? Give me some pointers. Give me some idea of why you think like this. Because I've given you exactly the reasons why I think I don't want him as the manager no more. I would rate Eddie Howe's time at Newcastle at 8.5 out of 10. It's been fantastic up until this season. The majority of it. Yes, we've had little falters, we've had little slip-ups, we've had periods of time where he wasn't winning games, but in the end he come good. He hasn't this season, has he? So 8.5 out of 10 for Eddie, thank you. We'll see you later. They're my reasons. I want your reasons now. Comment down below. Hit like, hit subscribe. And as I always say, keep it black and white and keep it Poolie Bag TV. Over and out, folks.